friends. It's fun. It's blues, and it's just it's what we do. We just noodle, right? Just noodle on those blues. Get some blues scales and some riffs and some twiddly dee, twiddly dum, and we're having fun. Hey friends, Eric Andres, Your Guitar Sage here, and today we are live on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, and all the kids are watching, and we're having lots of fun. So Instagram folks, you know what to do. Facebook and YouTube, and I should have done that song more justice. I apologize. But here's the fun thing: I don't battle with stage fright anymore. So even when I mess up, I don't even care. Seriously, we're going to be talking about my battle with stage fright and how I pretty much have overcome that over the years. And trust me, I used to have it really, really, really bad. And so we're going to talk about that. I'm going to get to your questions. In fact, this will be a short little anecdote, and we can talk about stage fright and all that stuff after. But we will... after this little anecdote, and then we'll get straight to your questions, okay? And I'll start on YouTube. I'll start questions on YouTube today because I think we started on Facebook yesterday. Cool? As always, please share, because sharing is caring, and of course you can win a lifetime membership to the Unstoppable Guitar System /365. We do this every week. We give away thousands of dollars worth of goodies every single month. We give away, let me say that again. I gotta slow down. We give away thousands of dollars worth of giveaways every single month. That's right. And it's a great opportunity for you to win. So there was a post that we put up on not YouTube, on Facebook yesterday. And that was there where you should leave a comment. You might see that. It looks like a dude doing something like this. There I am. Hi. There, that guy right there. That's the one that you want to leave the comment on. And so we might have already picked a winner for that already. Nonetheless, sharing is caring. You know what to do, and there's so many different ways to win with us here. Okay, so let me get straight into this. What we're talking about today is my battle with stage fright. And God, it's so funny. Over the years here, I've really curtailed the way that I speak, and even saying battle, stage fright. Even saying that sounds so ridiculous to me because the way that we think and the way that we speak has everything to do with the way that we act. It literally transforms the heart. It transforms our mind and our psyche and everything else. And so for me to even look at that post and say to even say it, it actually feels very uncomfortable for me to say it because I watch what I say now and the way that I think so much, especially over the last few years, that it seems very foreign to me. So that's part of the healing of this. So I'll tell you about it. So, most people, they have an aversion to being in front of people. Public speaking, they say, is one of the things that people fear the most. Sometimes, I believe in a poll that they did, they did this poll, and they said, of all the things that you're fearful of, what are the most? And death was below public speaking. It was below public speaking. So people are very fearful about getting up in front of others, and especially when it comes to an instrument and getting out on stage, because there's things that can go wrong, okay? I can tell you that my first time that I stepped on stage, I was very, very, very nervous. And every time since then, with the exception of the last, 5 years or so, 7, maybe 10 years. I don't really keep track of it, but it's definitely waned in the last 5 to 7, 10 years or so. When I step on stage, I don't have stage fright at all. I may have a little bit of healthy nervousness to make sure that I know what it is that I'm doing if I'm performing for somebody, if I'm playing guitar, if I'm doing my own thing. And I think that's good. That's healthy because you want to be prepared for whatever it is that you do, right? But there's a real unhealthy version of this where we're getting up inside of our head and we're saying, well, what happens if I break a string? Well, what happens if I hit a wrong note? Well, what happens if I play something at a time? Like I just did just now, okay? I played stuff at a time. I played stuff, wrong notes and what have you. Here's the deal. I'm unapologetic about it because I'm a guitar teacher. I would like to get better on my guitar playing, and I'm working on that. But bottom line, that's where I pour my heart into, is my teaching, and so much of my energy goes into that I don't get to noodle on licks for 8 hours, 10 hours a day like I used to as a kid. That being said, even if I were Steve Vai, Steve Vai makes mistakes. I've seen the best guitar players make mistakes, and I've seen them recover from it so well that I ended up going, well, did they even make a mistake? Because for a second there it sounded like they did, but then now it doesn't seem like they did. And there's an anecdote in that, or there's at least a lesson in that we'll talk about as well. In fact, let's go ahead and talk about it since we're at it. When you're on stage, things can go wrong. Things go wrong in life. No big deal. Let's get used to it because it's not going away, okay? It's here to stay. Things go wrong. No big deal. But the bigger that we make them, again, this is where the talk comes in, this is where the mind comes in. The bigger that we make these things, then the bigger they're going to be, okay? I just recently watched a video, and you guys have probably seen this as well, where Stevie Ray Vaughan's on stage. I think it was one of his last performances, and he was just demolishing the guitar as usual. He broke a string in the middle of a solo. And I watched this thing over and over and over again because I can't tell where he breaks the string. He does it so seamlessly. He's in the middle of a lick, he's bending or something, and he literally just moves to another form on the fretboard and keeps playing. He has his whammy bar on his Stratocaster tucked in. It's flat, it's not floating, so he could break a string and the guitar's not going to go out of tune so much, right? He just keeps playing. And I'm trying to find out where he broke this string, but nonetheless, he broke the string, he knows he broke the string, and he had to move to another section of the neck to complete the licks, to play, right? And literally, without missing a beat, he finishes the solo, and he looks over his right shoulder and looks at his tech. His tech comes out, brings another guitar, wraps it around him, he takes the strap off, does all this stuff, plugs the cable in, without missing a beat while he's singing, and then jumps right back into the song, okay? If you, on YouTube, you could open up another tab after the show here and type in Stevie Ray Vaughan breaks a string or something. You're going to find exactly what I'm talking about, and you will be absolutely mesmerized. Watch that video. Watch it over and over and over again. Now, what Stevie didn't do is this. He didn't go, I broke a string, I'm so embarrassed, and then pee his pants and run off stage, and everybody points at Stevie, little Stevie, as he runs off stage. That didn't happen, okay? He didn't pee his pants. He didn't cry. He didn't go, oh, hey, everybody, I broke a string. Right? Make a big deal out of it. That's a very common thing for us to do, to say, hey, everybody, I know I screwed up too. I want you to know that I'm not thinking that's okay. But guess what? When we do that, okay, and I tend to do that as well. I'll say, hey, I know I messed up there, what have you. It's a tendency because you want to let everybody else know, hey, I messed up. I noticed that I messed up, and that's a real natural tendency. But here's the deal. As you start getting better and better as a guitar player, you can cover a mistake up so much better because you're acting very quickly, just like a fighter, right? If a fighter makes a wrong move, he's not going to go, whoa, 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 time out. Hold on. It's a street fight, right? Whoa, 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 time out, I messed up. Let me do this again. No, you got to go with the flow and just keep going as if it didn't happen. You see this all the time in fights. They don't have an opportunity to say, whoa, time out. It's just keep going. So you want to adopt this same principle, okay? Now that's cart before the horse. But I wanted to mention it to you because I was in the middle of a story and telling you that, and I didn't want to miss that part. So one thing that you can do is when you make a mistake, don't take big pointers and point at it. Don't shout, hey, everybody, did you see how bad I screwed up? Don't do that because chances are people didn't hear what you heard. Our ears are so much more critical. I do this all the time. I will play a performance and I'll watch the video back and I'll go, oh my God, I murdered that solo. Not in a good way, in a bad way. I just slaughtered that solo. And I'll go back and I'll listen to it and I'm like, oh, well, hell, that wasn't bad at all. That was one little thing, and I don't even think I hardly noticed it. So when you're in the moment and you're playing on stage, everything just seems so amplified and so much bigger than it is. I promise you it's not that big, okay? Let me tell you the worst possible scenario. I've shared this story with you guys before. Let me tell you the worst possible scenario because I've been in it. I was in it. Okay, it wasn't my fault, but no one knew it wasn't my fault. I was playing the Bluebird Cafe. So I've played the Bluebird several times with my wife over the years. She's a songwriter. I've told you about her, Melissa Pierce, P-E-I-R-C-E, a hit songwriter, beautiful woman, and a beautiful songwriter. And so she's invited to play the Bluebird quite often, and I will typically perform with her. And so one performance we were doing a song that she had written called Red Light. Red Light by David Nail sings it. It's a country hit about 5 years ago. I'm guessing 4 or 5 years ago now. And we were performing this at Bluebird Cafe. If you don't know Bluebird Cafe, it is arguably the most intimate and most sought after songwriter gig that there is, probably in the world, honestly. They always show the Bluebird Cafe on Nashville, and it's the place that all songwriters flock to go see all these hit songwriters because they literally draw all these people. It's a tiny-ass room. The writers sit right in the middle with their guitars, and everybody is surrounding them like wolves. Okay, I'm setting the scenario for you because this is really how it is. And you've got this little sound system, a little room. Everybody, their motto is, shh. You don't say a word there when you're listening to these players, okay, these songwriters, because they're huge. They've written all the major hits. So I'm sitting in this round. It's called a round, where you sing songs in a round. One guy goes, another guy goes, another girl goes, another girl goes, that sort of thing. But this time you're not on a stage. Well, you're on a little platform, but you're right in the middle, okay? And everybody can see you, and it's so intimate. It's not even funny, okay? You can't even go to the bathroom. You'd have to get up in the middle, and it would be embarrassing, okay? Nonetheless, so we're playing this song, and my buddy, I won't name his name, but he's a very famous songwriter, and he's an amazing musician, and I think he might have possibly been a little high that night. Not that I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just I don't know if that's why he messed this up, but nonetheless, it was a big problem because every chord that I played, and I won't even say that he was playing the song, okay? I don't want to give it away who it was. He was playing the song, and he's a great ear player, but something was off that night, and every chord that I hit, he was playing some other chord. And when I say every chord, I mean every chord. And I think he started in maybe somewhere around the first verse, okay? Take a 3.5 minute song and started at the first verse, you've got about 3 minutes of a very, very, very slow train wreck where it's in slow motion and it's J.J. Abrams and the blood's going everywhere and a head's going here. It was that, okay? If you can imagine, this isn't a broken string or a missed note. This is every single chord has your buddy playing the opposite chord, and it just sounds like a cacophony of craziness. I was really hoping that he would just stop playing because he probably thought it was me. I know it wasn't me because I know this song inside and out, and I know when I'm making a mistake. Nonetheless, it was terrible. It was the worst experience I'd ever had on stage, and guess what? I'm here to tell you about it. No one said anything. Now, during the gig, I was looking around at faces at some very famous people, and they were like, there was a lot of whispering and there was a lot of that. It was just absolutely embarrassing. But, typically what happens in a situation like that is it gets worked out. The other player in the band figures, oh, okay, I know where you're at, or something like that. In this case, it didn't happen, and it was at least 2.5 minutes of just absolute horror. Okay, so with all that being said, that's a very worst case scenario. That probably isn't going to happen to you. So if anything less than that happens to you, then great. There you go. Okay, in the most intimate setting possible. Okay. Now, I've had other situations where, at every gig there's some sort of mistake. You forget a lick. You go to play a solo. It's impossibly the wrong key. You break a string. You step on the wrong pedal. Something goes wrong. Okay. And what I found is this. here's another little tidbit is the first mistake that you make, you're going to feel better afterwards because you go, whew, no one died. I'm not doing brain surgery here. No one, everybody out in the audience, is everybody cool, okay? They don't have torches and pitchforks. They're not going to kill me. And in fact, most of the time, unless you have an a-hole out in the audience, everybody is rooting for you. Everybody wants you to do good, okay? So don't worry about them. They're not like, ha, he messed up. It's not like that. So tell yourself that over and over again. Also, tell yourself this isn't brain surgery, and if you make a mistake, no one's going to die. It's no big deal, okay? So usually after the first mistake, there's always something. I feel better. For me, and this isn't for everybody, but for me, I always like to have one beer, right before I go on stage on an empty stomach. And when I do that, I'm like, it's all good anyhow, what is it? Or I'll take a shot or something like that. Obviously, for those who can't do that, they're going to have to find something else. Do 100 push-ups or do a run around. I've done that too. Do a lap around the place or do push-ups or something just to let some endorphins in so that you can just calm down. Because if you're just sitting there just up in your head thinking, oh, I'm going to mess up, okay, and you're using words like battle with stage fright, now this thing is much bigger than it is. You're just a little bit nervous. Allow your psychology, allow the words of your mouth, right? There's a good book that says that the power of life and death is within the tongue, meaning what it is that you say, whether it's good or bad, is empowering, okay? The power of life and death is within the tongue. It's also in the head. It's what you say. It's what you think, okay? So make sure that any ode to this possibly being nervous or not being super comfortable on stage is just that. Don't make it bigger than it is. Don't give it more attention. Just like a naughty child, don't give it the attention and literally forge on and tell yourself this. It takes some unbrainwashing because I promise you've been brainwashed. If you're nervous, if you got stage fright, you've been brainwashed. You've either brainwashed yourself or watched enough TV shows or seen an accident or somebody on stage or something where they messed up and you're like, oh my God, right? You've brainwashed yourself. You need to unbrainwash yourself of that stuff and tell yourself over and over again, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's music. It's art. No one's gonna get crazy, okay? And that's it. That's all I want to tell you on that. The first gig that I ever did, I was just horrified. And like I said, probably the first 2 or 3 years that I played, I was very horrified. And then I got in a band that I was very confident in, and that made me feel so much better. So maybe a third or fourth thing, as I've given you a few bits that you can do here that's going to help you is, if you feel unprepared for a gig and you feel nervous, you should feel nervous, okay? Do you know why that is? Because that's your defense mechanism saying you're not prepared. How do you fix that? Be prepared. It's super easy in theory, right? Just be prepared. Don't be that guy or girl who you've got a month to practice for a gig and then like a night or two before the gig, you're like, oh man, I didn't practice enough. Yeah, it's going to go bad. You're going to be embarrassed. Don't do that to yourself. Work your ass off. The audience deserves it. And you owe it to yourself. And guess what? It's just going to make you a better player. All those bits and pieces. You're not just practicing for that gig. You're practicing for every other gig you're doing. And every lick that you play and every chord that you play is going to stack up and make you a better player. Okay, so I think I gave you about 3 or 4 things to think about there. All good stuff that I promise is going to help you with your... We're not even going to call it those 2 things anymore. We're going to say our conversation with our stage attitude. Seriously, I know you think that's crazy. I promise you, if you start talking like this and start thinking like this, you will change your psychology. Trust me, take it from someone who used to be the polar opposite, used to be very negativo-stevo and all up in my head, and dear God, I couldn't even sleep at night. I've unbrainwashed myself. You can do the same. So when it comes to all this stuff, instead of what the title of this thing is, the title of this video, instead of saying that, say your conversation with your stage presence. Your conversation. That's all it is. It's a conversation. And you can get stronger just like going to the gym and lifting weights. You can get stronger and stronger and better and better. And that's just it. It's just 100% true. Unless you're a computer. If I'm talking to any computers out there, then I'm sorry for you. You're not going to get any better. But when it comes to beings, animals, people, plants, they change. They can change with the environment, okay? So there you go. You guys probably think I'm nuts, don't you? That's all right. You wouldn't be the first. Okay, so let's, I'm going to go into questions here on YouTube, and then I'm going to jump over. I seen somebody said Nick Jonas. Oh, dear Lord. That was a bad one. We'll talk about that in just a second. And then we'll head over to Facebook. Okay, so Nick Jonas did mess up a guitar solo at the ACMs. He definitely got grilled for that. It is true. But guess what? Nick Jonas most likely has more money and more fame than anybody in this room, and me included. More ladies, more money. I think he's a pretty happy guy. So not that it's all about money and fame and ladies, but he's got all that in spades. And here's the deal. Here's the other thing to remember is that, oh boy, this is drilled into my head every single day from all the people that I listen to, is if you're afraid, if you're fearful, then you're just going to stay in your little shell and you can just remain small for the rest of your life. Don't get scared. Don't get scared. Don't get out there and do anything. Or you can get out there and F up really, really good. And then just keep going. No one remembers the F-ups, man. No one remembers it. Babe Ruth, supposedly, from what I understand, I'm not very much of a sports guy, but from what I understand from my reading about him, is that he, during his time, had a terrible RBI. He was not like, always got on base. He'd strike out like all the time. But when he did connect with the ball, that ball would sail over the fence and he was every kid's hero, right? Do you know that he had a low RBI? I didn't until I heard that because we don't remember things like that, okay? Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs, we don't remember the things that he wasn't. We remember the things that he was, and that's typically what we do with folks. So all that being said, Nick Jonas did mess up in that solo, and I hate that for them. What he probably did is he probably forgot what key he was in, or he memorized the solo and maybe didn't know music theory. This is where music theory comes in very handy, because if you know what key you're in, unless you just completely forget everything about guitar, you can always go to the pentatonic or the blues scale or some sort of form that immediately you can make something up. I've done that on stage where I rehearsed a solo, had it down pat, knew it inside and out, and then I got on stage, forgot the solo or forgot half of the solo, but I knew what key I was in and just literally just kept going because I had the music theory knowledge, okay? Something very important for you guys to remember that you know, in a situation like Nick Jonas, if he had been thinking more about the theory of the song, okay, I'm in the key of A, I can always do this, then he could have made some stuff up, but instead he just kind of kept going, and it was not good. I feel so bad for that guy. That was a hard one. But he's alive. He didn't die. Everything's okay. Okay? But he got a ribbing for that one. Indeed. Okay. Okay, questions. Is B&G my favorite? B&G is one of my favorite guitars. Yes, it's not here. It's upstairs. I was playing the heck out of it last night. So yes, indeed, one of my favorites. Okay. I was working with my other guitarist last night, and we just couldn't hear the song we were working out the same way. Is there any truth that we don't feel it the same, or was someone just off? Jeff, there's no way for me to tell from here, but of course, you know, music is subjective. This is art. So one person's going to like Impressionism and another person's going to like Pointism, or isn't Pointism? Something like that. Nonetheless, someone's going to like blues, someone's going to like heavy metal. It's all different. And so yeah, it could be either. It could be any, you know. Question, is adjusting the height of your pickups on a Strat the way to balance the volume? Mike, on a Strat, typically the pole pieces, let's see if you can, we'll do this, we'll bump back here. The pole pieces, right, these little dots that are within the pickup, typically those, well, it depends on the pickup. Usually they're not adjustable, and Fender adjusts those to be like, this is how we like them, and they're cool. This is it, you know. Some of others are adjustable, so you can adjust the volume that way on ones that have screws in them. If they don't, then typically you're just you are just adjusting the tilt of the pickup, you know, the bottom or the top. So you can't really drill down to each specific pole piece unless it has a screw in it, okay? The strings are killing my fingers. What strings do you recommend? Raymond, it's not the strings, it's your fingers. It's just that you're not used to it yet. So let me make this a little clearer. It would be like going to the gym and working out really hard and you're like, oh my God, my muscles hurt. Can you suggest a different type of weight? Because right now I'm using iron, and when I get back from the gym, man, my muscles hurt really bad. Should I use like sand or water weights instead? Nope, it's just the weight, because your muscles are getting attenuated or used to what it is that you're doing, right? Same thing with this, the strings are killing your fingers. It's that your fingers are, they're not toughening up yet, okay? You haven't played enough yet for what you're doing today. So you may be just like, man, I want to play so much today, and then you play a bunch. I've done this before where, you know, if you're used to playing an hour a day and then one day you play 5 hours, then your fingers may hurt a little bit because it's like you're doing more than what you're used to doing. Does that make sense? Okay, great. By the way, I'm only looking for those that have a question mark afterwards. Because it's way too quick for me to sit there and read everything, okay? All right, cool. Okay, any tips on connecting with your audience while on stage? That's an absolutely great question. Let's talk about it. Yes, there's lots of things that one can do. If you notice, this is a trick. This is a trick that the stars do all the time. They're playing, and they'll be like, right? They're pointing at someone, and you don't know if they're actually pointing at someone or not. Chances are they are, but they may not be, right? Right? They do that, and someone does that, and you say, "Hey, wow, that guy is like, he's working the crowd and everything else." But nonetheless, if you do that and you point to a section of the crowd, especially in a bigger arena or a bigger venue, that whole section is going to know that you're pointing at them individually, right? So that's one thing you can do. You can point at people, you can wave to them, you can make eye contact, all the things that you might do on a date, or just if you're trying to get someone's attention. So a smile. Saying, you're the best audience ever, or man, I just love Phoenix. You guys are amazing, you know. God, listen to you guys go. So any bit of that, or you know, camaraderie, finding a common thread. So if you had a job interview and you wanted to get a job, and you didn't like the shirt that your boss was wearing, but you liked his shoes, you probably wouldn't go, dude, I don't dig that shirt. But you might go, man, I love your shoes. Right? Because you want there to be some sort of rapport there. So anything that you can do to build rapport. Audiences really do love you to talk about their songs. They don't want you to over talk about their songs, but they like you to introduce the song and say, this is what this song's about, and that sort of thing. Because if you don't, then you're just playing it. Typically, they don't know what you're singing about anyhow, because this is the first time they're listening to a song, and especially if you're being extra poetic and crafty and what have you, and no one knows what the song's about anyhow, they're never going to know. So it's helpful to let them in on the secret and say, hey, this is what this is about. This is what this is about. So telling stories, that sort of thing. I've helped my wife a lot with that, because she used to be like, no one really cares about my songs. And I'm like, dude, you are a hit songwriter. You write songs that are on the radio and everything else. People want to know about the songs. They've come to the Bluebird. They want to hear, and she's gotten amazing. She's so good at this now, way better than I am. So just camaraderie, getting to know your crowd, talking to them, smiling at them, making eye contact. If you're like this all the time and you're playing real quiet, they're not going to like that. Also, when you're on stage, people don't want you to have an attitude. They don't want you to be a jerk, but they also don't want you to be timid. When you go see Fast and Furious, do you want them to be nice and soft and humble and quiet and that sort of thing? Or do you want to have your head blown off? You want to have your head blown off, right? You're going to see Fast and Furious. You want to see all the excitement. You want to feel it. You want to walk out of there going, oh my God, that was amazing. Whoa, right? You want the whole experience. So when you go see AC/DC, you don't want them just kind of lighting candles and here we go, we're going to play a song for you. You want them to rock out, socks out. So think about the same thing when you're playing for an audience. Is give them a lot of attention, love on them. You're there for them. So okay, can just learning scales up and down help me improvise? No. You can learn scales and you can do that, but when you go to improvise, then you're just going to be playing scales. Watch my video. I have a video that says you're playing your scales wrong. It addresses exactly what you're talking about. It's on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage. You're playing your scales wrong, because basically it's the idea of once you know a scale, then leave it alone and start learning phrases. Otherwise, if you're playing your scale and playing your scale and playing your scale and playing your scale and playing your scale, you're wasting time, because no one plays scales on stage. Everybody plays riffs, okay? So yeah, you're going to be great at playing a scale, but no one gives a crap about how fast you can play a scale. No one really cares. They care if you can phrase something, right? That would be like Da Vinci or somebody like that going, watch how fast I can paint. And then you see his painting and it's just like, you're like, cool. You just threw a bunch of paint on a canvas. Cool. What is that? That's not a big deal. No one cares about that. They want you to say something, okay? Also, search on YouTube, search YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues, because if you can learn how to phrase using the blues, you'll learn how to phrase doing other styles. How do I know which strings to go with for blues? Strings are strings. There's no special strings for blues. I played through a Strat through a Blues Junior. What strings do you use on your 65, 64 Strat? I don't even know. They're probably D'Addario today or GHS. I can tell you they're 10 through 42 on that guitar. On other guitars, they're 9 through 46 or 10 through 46. I don't even really think about it too much. I typically don't do anything less than 9s, but there's no specific reason why that either, really. Just used to 9s and 10s. That's what I do. So don't get worried about that. Don't worry about that. It has nothing to do with anything, to be quite honest with you. Okay? And the reason I tell you that is this. Some people may go, no, man, no. Well, strings make all the difference in the world. Cool, do that. Spend your time doing that instead of the important stuff. And if it makes you feel better, then great. But if it doesn't make you better, then what does that matter, right? It's really important to focus on the things first that are going to make you a better player. And then later on, if you're Eric Johnson or some player who's just absolutely so amazing that the slightest little nuance is going to be something that you're going to hear or feel or something like that, then great. But I'm telling you, 99.9999999% of everything, of any of your woes, have to do with your playing and your practice. It has nothing to do with your equipment, okay? You may want better equipment, but it's not keeping you back from being a great guitar player. I can promise you that. I know some of you are cursing me right now for saying that, but my job is not to continue to disable you. My job is to help you get from here to there in the quickest way possible. And the first way to do that is for us to be honest with ourselves. I hope this makes sense, but is there a rundown on finding chords after finding the root note? I hope this makes sense. Is there a rundown on finding chords after finding a root note? No, a root note's a root note. There could be any number of hundreds or thousands of chords that follow that root note. And there's no specific way, just knowing the root note. Did you ever have a student that struggled with muscle memory? Asking for a friend, Dennis is saying. Yeah, students who didn't practice. I'm not being flippant. That's just true. The students that didn't practice had problems with muscle memory. The students that practiced, no problem with muscle memory. Is it normal to feel like you never understand music theory? Yeah, if you're not doing it in order, and you're not moving forward. If you got to learn music theory in order, that's why I have the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Link for it's in the description of the video. Raymond, start there, because there's a ton of music theory that you'll never ever know. That's it right there. Or the link is in the description. a ton of music theory that you're never ever going to use ever. Why learn it? Okay. If you're a doctor, if you're going to be a vet, and you're like, I really got to learn how to do brain surgery. I'm going to be a doctor. I got to study music because I'm going to be maybe what happens if I'm going to be a doctor of music? No, you're going to be a vet. You study vet stuff. You study animals and that sort of thing, okay? Don't study things that you don't need to know about, okay? Pareto's rule. If you know the 20% of the right stuff, you can take care of 80% of the job. Or you can be the guy who learns 80%, 4 times as hard, and only get a quarter of the job done or a fifth of the job done, okay? So don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Start in order in the free course that I'm giving you. Start there, and if you need more music theory after that, at least you'll have a good foundation and everything won't be so mysterious. You'll be able to work some stuff out yourselves and continue on. I've got 1,000 lessons on YouTube for free, okay? Okay. Great. Okay. Here we go. Do you recommend super glue on the fingertips for techniques so they can play longer and less pain? Yeah, I guess you could do it. Just make sure your fingers don't get glued together. I've done that if I've opened up like if I peeled my finger or something like that before, or had an injury. I've done that before. Yep. Is the key to good vibrato in the wrist or control of your fingers? Evan, that would this is like saying when you eat chocolate, which taste bud should you put the chocolate on to get the best taste out of it? I don't know. You put the chocolate in your mouth and it just works. So it's like vibrato, there's different things that you can do. I mean, yeah, when I'm doing vibrato or anybody's doing vibrato, you're shaking your wrist, you could shake the whole guitar, you could shake your wrist, you could shake your arm, you could just shake your finger, but realistically, you're doing some sort of this motion here, okay? So the key is practice. If I told you it's the fingers, how would you practice that, right? If it was the wrist, how would you practice that? Just practice vibrato. It's going to sound like crap at first. It does for everyone. It did for everyone, Hendrix and Van Halen and everybody else. But through practice, it'll sound better because your ear knows what it is you're trying to do. And when it's not getting there, you just keep practicing until you get it, okay? How important are good social skills for succeeding in the industry? Is being a talented artist enough? Asking for a friend. Sean's saying, there's a spectrum of all this, so there's not a real definitive answer. Anybody who says otherwise would be a liar, because how can one quantify good social skills and how talented are you talking about, right? That being said, if Stevie Ray Vaughan had terrible social skills and he was playing some bar in Texas and he was singing and playing like he did, and he wasn't signed, I can guarantee you he would have gotten a deal, because someone had said, who is this guy? Like, I've never heard of him before. Because you hear about people who are, talented, people who've practiced a lot, people who are great at what they do. You hear about them eventually, especially nowadays, right, on the internet and everything else. So social skills help, just like being balanced in anything helps. If you're working out and you're eating like crap, you can go to the gym and you can still build muscles, and you can eat junk food all day long. But what happens if you start eating great food now and now you go work out? Well, you've synergistically just made your game so much more strong, okay? So get some social skills. Learn how to say hello. Be kind. Look people in the eye. Reach out to people. Those sorts of things. Learn about it. But I think it's very helpful. Definitely. And in fact, I know lots of people in Nashville here, it's filled with people in Nashville that are not talented, but they have so much social game, and they are able to BS their way. Not BS their way, they're just social, and they make it work, and they build a following. So there's different ways to do it. That's one side of the spectrum, and then there's that uber talented dude or gal in the basement who just practices all the time and no one knows about them, but they got to get out there eventually for someone to see them, unless someone's walking by their basement, right? Eric, what do you think about the ukulele? I think it's a fine instrument. So fun. I love them. I have them. I used to teach ukulele. I've got a ukulele channel. There's nothing on it. There's like, I don't know, 20, 30 videos on it. It's called YourGuitarSage, but I haven't put videos on there in a long time, unfortunately. But it's a great little channel if you want to learn some stuff. I wrote a book on ukulele. It's called Ukulele Mastery Simplified. Which of your courses after the beginner package do you recommend I buy to play Old Delta Blues? Old Gray Bear. The Unstoppable Guitar System is where you want to be. That's the whole package. It's the whole enchilada. And here's the deal. I literally just got done yesterday redoing all my blues stuff and a whole lot more. There's going to be a beginners, an intermediate, and an advanced section. And yesterday I was just working on the beginner section, and that is, my guess is going to be somewhere between 40 and 50 videos, that one section. That's going to be available soon. In fact, that's going to be uploaded today for my guys to start rendering, and we're going to start getting those up to the Unstoppable Guitar System. For those of you that are in UGS, you know that I upload new videos every month. If it's not this month, then it'll be the following month, and it'll be a much bigger program. I definitely always deliver more than I promise. I always promise at least an hour of new material every month, not including the live broadcasts that I do. Just for those folks, but new lessons, okay? And I always provide more than that. Okay, so that's where you want to be, the Unstoppable Guitar System, okay? Okay, great. Okay. When you play with another guitar player, do you watch what the other guy is doing? Do I do that? I mean, I have before. I've done that before, you know, especially if they're like playing a lick or you're impressed with what they're doing or you want to learn what they're doing. On stage, I might not do that, but if I'm just sitting here jamming with a friend, I might say, hey, whoa, what did you do there? Brett Papa, you know, was here a few weeks, or I guess about a month ago now, maybe longer than that. He did some sort of lick, and I'm like, whoa, slow that down. What did you do there? So yeah, I will do that if I want to grab an idea or something, understand what somebody's doing, you know. Do I see the entire fretboard as one, or do you see sections and work from one to the next? Robert, everybody sees one section at a time. No one sees the entire fretboard. There's no need to. You can only be in one room at a time. You can only be in one place at a time. You can only have one thought in your head at a time. Now, you can jump back and forth between thoughts, but you can only do one thing at a time. So if I'm thinking that I'm in this position, I can't think about this position. Does that make sense? I'm not there. I could think, okay, in a minute here, I'm going to go to that one shape. You know, so I can think about that before I get to it, but it's more just like a little thing that you train yourself to do over time. But no, I'm not seeing the whole fretboard. You're connecting the dots. You're connecting one section to another. If I play a lick, right? If I go, sorry, if I do something like, now I'm in form 1. Now I'm in form 2, so now I might think, okay, now I'm in form 2. Let's noodle around in form 2 a bit. Okay? That's how that works. How do you come up with all those examples like this about the doctor or about chocolate you said when you try to explain guitar stuff? Is that a special talent, or have you worked on that? Well, thank you. I guess maybe that's partially the teacher in me, that I'm always coming up with analogies, because I understand that we learn through association better than we do just learning something rote, okay? So if I say to you that thing about the chocolate or the thing about the doctor, and you're like, oh yeah, well that makes sense, then that synapse in your brain will connect to the new synapse that I'm trying to grow for you that's slightly over to the side, and then all of a sudden now they connect, and now those two ideas connect, right? Just like my mom told me to learn Latin in high school, so because a lot of the words in Latin, it's where we get our vocabulary from. So if you, I can't even think of an example. I failed Latin, but but I finally passed it. But nonetheless, it's like the words there, transfer to English very well. So we learn through association so much. So that's why I use analogies all the time. Okay, great questions, and thank you so much. I really appreciate that, friend. Okay, I'm on Facebook page UGS on laptop. How do I find this webcast? Mike, you shouldn't be on the Unstoppable Guitar System page. You should be on your YourGuitarSage page, because the Unstoppable Guitar System is just for folks that are inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. So you're on the wrong page. You should be on, you could go to facebook.com/YourGuitarSage. You could go there. BJ saying, are there any beginner guitar books you'd recommend? Are there any that go well with your course, or are you more of a learn songs kind of guy? No, definitely. I've got my courses, and I've written several books. The book that would go best with my program is called Guitar Mastery Simplified. It was a bestseller on Amazon. We've sold a gazillion copies of that. Is that a number? I don't know, but we've sold that many, a gazillion. So it's called Guitar Mastery Simplified, or if you're on Amazon, just search Eric Andreas and you'll find it. That's the one that's going to work. That's going to work best with that. Oh, Subskip, you rule. Thank you so much. Look, Subskip just put the link right there in the bit there for you. Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to say show that one. Thank you so much. And David's putting something up there too. I'm sure that's cool. All right, so yeah, your YourGuitarSage. That's what to look for. Your YourGuitarSage, and I do have a Ukulele Mastery Simplified. That's also on YouTube, or just on Amazon. Search Eric Andreas. What's your thoughts on Musician, Fender Play, and other mobile learning apps? I use Musician and seem to like the progress quickly, but I hit a wall after a while. Chris, I get this a lot. I have lots of folks that have used both of those inside of my program, and I know it sounds like a sales pitch, but sorry, I'm just repeating what they say. They say, hey, I'm using these, but this is so much better. Think about it. If you're trying to learn how to work out, would it be better to be learning from a guy who works out, or would it be better to have a workout app where you see a little robot guy lifting a weight or something like that? No, you want to see the real thing. You want to hear the real thing. That's how we learn. So I don't know about either of those. Musician asked me back in the day, I think it was Musician. I don't know. I get folks that ask me all the time to represent their products, and sometimes I will and sometimes I won't. Obviously, even if they're paying me, it's like I don't want to, if I don't believe in it, I'm not going to do it. I don't need the money, so I'm not going to do it if I don't believe it. And so I've had some of these folks come to me. In fact, I'll tell you who it was that came to me. Not Guitar Hero, but the one up from that one. Who? Rocksmith. Thank you, Chris. Rocksmith. They asked me to represent their product, and actually that product, out of any of the products, I think is probably pretty cool, because, and I feel like I did play it. I think they gave it to me. They sent it to me, and I ended up saying I'm not going to do it, just because it's cool. It's a like, if you like playing video games and you like that interaction stuff, it's another way to learn, or it's a way to learn, but it's not like actually learning licks, learning Stevie Ray Vaughan licks and then working them over a jam track. It's not the same. It's not going to get you to the same place either. So that's what I think of those. Are you friends with other music teachers on YouTube, or ever met them? Yeah, a lot of them. I've talked with Marty. I've talked with Justin. We talk on the phone all the time. We chit chat. No, I've talked with Marty before. I've talked with Justin. Justin did an interview with me I think it was last year. Papa Stash he's always coming here. In fact, we're going to do something next week. In fact, he's going to be live with us a week from today. Brett Papa Stash will be here. Johnny Highland, in fact, I'm going to be calling Johnny Highland right after this. If you don't know Johnny Highland, he is an absolute beast of a guitar player, amazing guitar teacher, wonderful all-around guy, and I'm gonna hopefully have him on the show. So he's going to be coming into Nashville, finishing his gospel album. So yeah, and as many teachers and players as possible. I love meeting different folks and bringing them in. So, and we're going to be doing that more and more. What's my favorite brew? I'm not much of a drinker, but I'd say it'd probably be some sort of candy ass beer. Like maybe something that a man wouldn't order. Like something with some grapefruit or some orange in it or something like that. I like those. Is there much of a difference between a USA or a Mexican Telecaster? Not much. They will tell you on the website, but specifically what it is. But typically it's like woods, where it's made, which is not that big of a deal. Some people, it's got to be made in America. And it's like, there's tons of crap made in America, trust me. There's tons of amazing things made in other countries. So don't cheat yourself out of a great instrument at an affordable price with that attitude. Sorry, it's just true. Okay, so in fact, oh gosh, who told me this the other day? John Scott, the guy that's building my guitar right now, the custom guitar, was saying, I think that the original, he was telling me something about the original Strats that went out, that the Luthier who was creating those guitars was Mexican. So there you go. So whether he was in Mexico or he was in the U.S., he was Mexican. And he created all those classic Tellys and Strats. How about that? Okay, there you go. But typically it's a difference in wood, it's a difference in hardware, stuff like that. Okay? All right, sweet. Analogy, yes, that's what it is. Yes, indeed. Okay, I have a guitar lesson channel here in Greece. I'm a guitar teacher. I have 20,000 subs, and every video I make takes like 5,000 views. Do you think it's worth it to make an online course or a book in Greek? I definitely, look, man, if you can help the world, do it. That was my motto back in the day, was in 2006 when I started uploading videos. I didn't have any courses. I didn't have any books. I wasn't making any money. I wasn't doing anything. I was just working, doing like 60, 70 something lessons a week. And then because I had something to share and I had a video camera and I thought YouTube was awesome, I'm like, well, I'm just going to throw something up there. And you can see some of those old videos. They're hilarious. I've got the light behind me and my hair's all like this and my cat's walking across the table and it was just crazy. But lots of those old videos out there, I just kept them up. So look, man, if you've got, obviously I have 20,000 people that dig you and 5,000 per view for video or whatever. So that means you're helping the world. So yes, do that. Help the world. Write a book. Create a course. Help the world out. Yes, do it. All right. Excellent. Any new guitar giveaways coming? Yes, always. I'm doing a lifetime membership to the Unstoppable Guitar System today. Okay. I'll be honest, who doesn't want to win a guitar? So I do work in my UGS, but I do come to a lot of your videos here to try to win. Okay, cool. Excellent. Yes, do it. That's what I'm here for. Skip just gave $5, buddy. Thank you so much, man. Burger Fun Time. It was the hardest thing you had to overcome while learning the guitar, and how did you overcome it? Okay, Skip number 1. Thank you so much, folks. If you don't know what that is, that nice big green thing that just appeared on the screen, that is our lunch fund. This is how I feed the boys. Otherwise, they don't eat. Okay. No, seriously, Thrash Metal started this a few weeks ago, and it's really kind, and basically I take that money and we go out to eat. So thank you so much, Skip. What was the hardest thing that and by the way, you can't do this on Facebook. You don't only do it on YouTube. So if you want to donate to the Boys Lunch Fund, then that's how you do it. And you'll see it right at the bottom left of the screen where you normally would type. There's a happy face, and then there's a little money sign. You click on that, you can donate, and then, of course, your thing will pop up to the top. And then I can answer your question right away, and I will jump to it right away. What was the hardest thing I had to overcome while learning guitar, and how did you overcome it? The hardest thing? Man, I would say that it's the title of this broadcast. I would say it's that. Because really, to me, nothing... It wasn't hard, it was fun. It was challenging, but it was always fun. To me, hard is like, God, if you had to do a term paper and you didn't want to do it, like that's hard to me. That's like pushing a rock up a hill. Otherwise, or a boulder up a hill, a rock wouldn't be that hard. But to me, guitar's always been so fun, and I've always said, well, I can't do this today, but I can do it. I'm sure I could do it by tomorrow. You know, that kind of attitude. So I was always just moving up from there, you know. But I would say the title of this broadcast, my friend, is what it was that I struggled with, you know. He had a 228, ERA. Is that right? Talking about Babe Ruth. So I'm putting that right there. If he had 228 ERA, I'm not sure what that means, but I know batting average. That if that were 228, that's like how many times he got on base out of 1,000, 228, and that's not good. Not good at all. I can do that. I can't hit a ball over a fence though. Can you get John 5 on? I would love to get John 5 on. That guy's a beast, right? What a beast. Gibson or Epiphone, American or the rest of the world? It just depends. You're going to pay more for the American bits, and you're going to spend more for Gibsons. But I've said this before. I've owned lots of Gibsons. I've owned lots of Epiphones, and I've owned some amazing Epiphones, and I've owned some crap Gibsons, and I've owned some amazing Gibsons, and I've owned some crap Epiphones. Went to an auction one year. This was many years back, and I bought 2 Epiphones and 2 Gibsons. I was planning on just reselling them, and I had some money at the time. So I bought 2 Epiphones and 2 Gibson Les Pauls. They were all Les Pauls, and I was loving Les Pauls. And I ended up, well, maybe it was 2 Gibsons and 1 Epiphone. Nonetheless, it was either 3 or 4 guitars, and definitely Gibson and Epiphone. And so anyhow, the Epiphone I kept. The Gibsons I sold because both of them, I hated how they played. So whatever, you know what I mean? I have 8 guitars now. How many is enough? I mean, minimum 9. However many you have, one more is how many you need, typically. That's what I say. Okay, still, fingers aren't too short. Yep, fingers aren't too short. You just need to practice. And I can prove this by showing you a guy who has no arms playing with his toes. And I can show you these little Korean kids playing these full-size guitars, playing classical guitar, which is a much wider neck, and they're doing it just fine. But guess what? They practice. Small fingers, fat fingers, that's an excuse. Sorry, it's not my job to pat you on the back, powder your little bottom. My job is to help you, is to either go, stop wasting your time. You're not willing to be dedicated to the guitar. Just go have fun. Go drinking. Go play some video games or go watch TV or something. Don't waste your time trying to play guitar because you're not practicing. I had a student who did this all the time, did it for years. I kept telling him, stop doing it. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your parents' money. You're wasting my time. Finally, he quit. But my job, but what I would prefer you to do is to shake you to where you go, Eric's right. I need to get off my ass and I need to become a good guitar player. I need to buy a daggone book or get in a course or watch some videos on YouTube or do something, but I need to get out of my comfort zone and become a better guitar player if that's what you desire, okay? It's not for everybody, so, no big deal. We are rocking to keep your hands to yourself by Georgia Satellites. What do you like about the 8-bar as opposed to a 12-bar blues or vice versa? Nothing in particular, Jeff. Blues is blues to me. Can't we all just get along? Indeed. What was your biggest struggle? We talked about that. Cool. I'm going to jump over to Facebook here in just one moment. So hang in there, Facebook. I have an electric and an acoustic. Does it matter which guitar I practice on? Nope. Whatever one you practice on, you're going to get better at. So if you drive a sports car and you drive a sedan, whatever car you drive, you're going to get better at that car. Okay, you're going to get a better feel for it because you're used to how it's handling, right? Eric, can you suggest websites for downloading backing tracks for specific songs such as You Shook Me All Night Long? Yes, you're on it. YouTube. There's also a place called backingtracks.com, I believe. I think that's the name of it. Otherwise, just do a little Google search. I have 600 plus backing tracks within the Unstoppable Guitar System. You get all those for free when you're in the program. Why do YouTubers and you do giveaways? What do you get out of it? Well, it's a way to give back. It's a way to give love. People love them, so they attend broadcasts. So they're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and then I'm giving a Les Paul away, and then they're like, hold on, maybe he knows what he's talking about. And then if they can sit with me for 5 minutes, they go, hey, this guy does know what he's talking about. Cool. So there's lots of different reasons, but man, I've been so absolutely fill in the blank, blessed, lucky, bestowed upon. I feel like my life is so wonderful, and I know that there's a principle in the universe. Believe it or not, I don't care. I'd prefer you to believe it, because then you too can reap the rewards from it. But there's a principle in the universe, man, that when you're given, you better be gracious. And it's not a you better, it's, dude, be gracious, be grateful, give in return, because in doing so, you will get more. And it's true, when you hoard, you won't get. And when you give, you will get. It's just absolutely true. Preachers used to say it all the time on TV, and it's absolutely true, even though they may not have, maybe some of those guys weren't being totally honest with what other things they were doing. The principle is absolutely true, okay? It's just a truism. Try it. It works. The more I give, the more I get. So that's another reason. So, I mean, if you notice my the guitars that I give away, I'm doing more of that. We're giving more jam tracks away. More jam tracks. We're giving more Unstoppable Guitar Systems away. We're getting more expensive guitars. We're doing it more often. Just all sorts of stuff. So try it. Try with something small and keep your eye on it and watch. You watch and see if I'm not wrong. Come back here and you tell me, because I'm telling you, it's true. Live my life both ways. How is this lesson when you teach a little child like 6 or 9 years old? What does it consist of? A typical lesson? Do you teach them theory, scales, chords, or some melodies, just like Mary Had a Little Lamb? I teach a 6-year-old the same way as I would teach a 66-year-old. There's a step-by-step program. That's what the free program's all about. Links in the description of the video. It's a free program. It's the first 30 lessons I teach all my students, and it's exactly what I would do. This guy right here, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Because whether you're 6 or 66, there's a specific order. And if you learn it out of order, it makes things harder. It's not to say you can't do it, but you can learn multiplication by starting in calculus and then later on learning addition. Not really, you can't do that. But you could learn multiplication without addition. You're going to suck at it. That's why we always learn addition first. Then we learn subtraction. Then we learn multiplication. Then we learn division, right? There's an order that we do things in. And because of that, there's an order for everything. And if you learn things in order, it's friggin' fun, and you won't feel the pain, okay? You won't feel the pain. Okay, I want to keep going on this, but I'm going to jump over to Facebook because I feel like I'm neglecting those folks there. So I'm going to get to them real quick, okay? So here we are on Facebook. How many folks we got in here? We got 37 folks in Facebook. That's nice. Sweet. All right, great. Excellent. You guys might have seen some of the fun stuff at the beginning of the program. The custom guitar I'm having built, that cobalt blue with the cobalt blue neck, the pedals that are being built, shopygs.com where we have all the swag, lots of good stuff, all right? So ask me about it, I'll let you know. Rick Fuqua, what's up, my friend? Okay, make sure you have a question mark too, right? Please provide that question mark. NLP, yes, indeed. Neuro-linguistic programming is, and actually I'm studying that right now, Rick. I imagine that people come by that naturally, but neuro-linguistic programming sounds like brainwashing, but it's not. It's basically finding out where people are. This is terrible definition, but basically it's finding out where people are by what it is that they say, by their mannerisms, by finding out what their problem is, having them rephrase things. Like I did this with my battle with stage fright, right? Instead of that, saying my conversation with my stage presence. Simply changing the way that you say things. I learned this from Tony Robbins. He didn't invent this, but it's just so true. If you say, my fingers are killing me. Ugh. The difference between saying that is, ooh, fingers are hurting. You know, the difference between those two things are absolutely huge. And the more you pour into your brain, your fingers are killing you, the less likely you are to pick up the guitar. But if you just say, man, fingers are sore, I'm going to give it a minute, you know, come back to it. Guarantee you, dude, power of life and death is within the tongue. It's also within the mind. So get control of those things. Especially if you can't control your tongue or you can't control your mind, that's how much more you need it. Those who are in control of their minds, control of their words, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If this sounds very foreign to you, if it sounds like woo-woo, if it sounds crazy, that's how much you need it. Because that means you're that separated from it that it's not even a part of your life. Do it, my friend. I'm not there. I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not being ugly. I'm not being judgmental. I'm telling you, do it. Watch your life absolutely transform. I've literally watched my own life transform in so many different ways over time. And other times I've dropped it and I've said, it's not working. And then all of a sudden, here comes life. And when I am doing it, things seem to work out so much better. Doesn't mean that crap isn't going to happen, but you handle it so differently. It's like judo. When you watch these guys do judo, the guy punches at him and he does this thing and he just moves over to the side. He's barely doing any energy whatsoever. It's fascinating, and we can do this in life. Beginner here, Roger on YouTube on Facebook is saying, beginner here. Brought home an acoustic A20 amp from my acoustic electric guitar. What are your thoughts on this amp? I don't know anything about it. What are your thoughts? What are others that might provide more features? Roger, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of acoustic amplifiers because to me, they just make your acoustic guitar louder. And if you have a bad pickup, which 99% of the guitars out there do, or at least acoustic guitar players do, acoustic guitars do, then it's just going to further amplify a crappy sounding guitar. So I wish that I could tell you more about that. I don't mean to be flippant. I'm not. I guess I'm saying I don't know that amp. Okay? Sorry. Any other questions, though, let me know. Ever let the audience sing on the chorus? Yeah, that's a great thing to do. Indeed, that's another way to get people involved. Get them clapping, get them snapping, whatever. Like anything you can do like that. I mean, there's going to be people saying, I don't want to do that. Whatever. You're not. That's not the guy you're performing for anyhow, okay? It's the fun folks out there. What part of Florida are you from? I'm over near Clearwater, Palm Harbor. I know Clearwater really well. In fact, that's eventually close to the area that I want to move, to St. Pete, Clearwater, in the Tampa area. Actually, if I had my druthers, I'd be moving straight down to Key West, but my wife doesn't want to be on an island. So that's that. But I'm originally from Central Florida, the Space Coast, Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach, Titusville. I was born in Titusville, grew up in Merritt Island, Cocoa Beach area. Now mom lives in Cocoa, and my family lives in Cocoa, so I'm always there. Ever tried Elixir strings? I have. What acoustic guitars do you like, intermediate students? I have tried Elixir strings. The acoustic guitars that I like, I love my Gibson SJ200. That's one of my favorite. For an affordable model, the orange wood guitars are great. But there's lots of them I like. I like Taylor's. I like Martin's, all. Your book on how to read music is very helpful. Thank you so much, Ron. That can be found on Amazon as well. Ever tried nail polish on fingertips? I have not, personally. I don't like I don't like that smell or those chemicals or anything, but I've never tried that. Is it really necessary to humidify guitars? Sandy, it depends where you're at. Right now, the humidity is 60 here in Nashville. Before that, it was like 10 and 20. All of a sudden, we just got a bunch of humidity. So right now, I don't need to humidify it. The air's humidifying. But yes, it's very, very important, especially acoustic guitars. I've seen bridges rip off of guitars from just sitting there. I've seen them split. I've seen people repair them. Yes, most assuredly, especially if you have a vintage acoustic instrument, you better have that thing right in the right range, which is about 45 to 55. That's the best-ish range. You don't want it to get too dry. You don't want it to get too wet. Got to find it. YourGuitarSage. Yep. Can I get your uke books? You can on Amazon. Search Eric Andres on Amazon. We just bought a whole classroom full of ukes. Oh, beautiful, Sandy. Well, in that case, Sandy, yeah, check out YourGuitarSage on YouTube. And you're welcome to take my book if you would like that on for your kids there. And I'm saying for you, Sandy, if you want to copy it so you don't have to buy copies for all the kids, then I'm totally fine with that if you want to do that for your classroom there. I'm not saying anybody else to just go do that, but for the kids there, I would be more than happy to help. I'm not going to come after you. Eric, by making all these videos, lessons, and broadcasts, it seems to me it is much like documenting your own progress and life as it relates to your own music guitar. Do you find that it also helps you to improve? Scott, it does. Now, unfortunately, for as a player, I feel it helps a little bit. It doesn't help a whole lot, but it does help with things like rapport with people, and it helps with helping get people from one place to another, because when I read your guys' comments, when I read your posts, what I can do is I can get a good indication of the pulse of the crowd, and I can go, okay, well then they need more of this and they need less of this. Okay, this is why I jump into questions right away now instead of teaching a lesson, because I've got thousands of lessons out there for you for free, including the free course here. Why not just get to your questions? Because you don't get that a lot. So that's why I'm constantly tweaking the beast, if you will. What kind of pickup system do you like for a nice Morgan Dread? So an LR Baggs Anthem. I suggest that for any acoustic guitar. It's expensive. It's $300. Your guitar will never sound so beautiful through a system. It will sound like your guitar, but better. Any other pickup, I just can't vouch for. I just know that one is the best. That was referred to me by my luthier. I said, look, man, this is an expensive guitar, and I want it to sound like the best. So what is the best? And he said, this is it. It's the only one I installed. That was Greg, my first. So my other guitar tech is also named Greg, but this was Greg at Classic Axe. I call him Cranky Greg because he was always cranky. He was like, if you ever saw Soup Nazi from Seinfeld, you know, when you said you got to go up with your tray and say, whatever, soup please, or whatever, and then you move over to the side. That was Greg. He had like, you had to show up to his shop at a certain time, and you had this back door, and you had to knock a certain way, and it was locked and dead bolted and all this stuff, and he'd let you in, and you had to sit in a certain room, and then he would come out, and it was a whole thing. It was really weird. You don't look him in the eye. You had to look down, or I'm making some stuff up. That part, but that's it. It was the weirdest thing. He was always so cranky, but he was a kick-ass guitar luthier, and I'd still bring my stuff to him, but I got another guy who's even closer, but Greg over at Classic Axe here in Nashville, cranky and amazing. So bring your stuff to him. He's fantastic. If you want amazing and not cranky, go to Greg Ellis at Franklin Guitar Repair in Franklin, Tennessee, where I live. He's fantastic. Okay, good. Thanks. How many videos do I do per week? How many videos do I do per week? You know, I don't think about it anymore, Sandy. I do hundreds per year, and I don't know how many that is. I can tell you the last 2 days, not including my live stuff or any YouTube stuff, for like the Unstoppable System course, I just did about 40 videos. And so I'm getting ready to do some YouTube videos today as well. So I would say I probably average a video a day. Did you hear my kid up there? He's screaming, yelling at my wife, his mom. Eric, I think you should do the retro look one day, the bedhead grunge look for a while. I totally should do that. Love the Q&A, learn stuff I wouldn't think of. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I love that. And, oh, good. Love that everybody loves that. I had a buddy say that he really likes the rapid fire bit where we're answering questions because, look, any questions that you have for me, chances are there's like 50 people in here that have the same question that they want answered. So don't be afraid. Throw those questions out there. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to serve you. I want to help you get to the next level. So that's what we're doing, okay? Cool. You down with that? I'm making sure no one donated here and I missed them. So you let me know, Chris, since I'm on Facebook right now. Okay. Dang. Whoa. Okay, so many questions today. Wow. Dear Lord, I just ended up skipping past a bunch. Okay, here we go. Still on Facebook, trying to get to as many of these as possible. Exercises to strengthen hands for bar chords. Sandy, the free course. The exercises are in there. If you want to know how to play bar chords on YouTube, search effing F chord. That's EFFING, effing F chord. And also on YouTube, search YourGuitarSage bar chords. Sage, I live in a small house. How do I get my wife on board with me learning to play? I don't know what you mean by that, the small house. So is it too loud? Get some headphones. Get an amp that you can play at a low volume. That sort of thing. That's what you want to do. Get an acoustic guitar. Play outside. Write a song for your wife that's a love song that makes her swoon. That sort of thing. That's what I'd do. Or you just say, listen, woman, I got to play guitar. That's what I say to my wife. Just make sure she's not listening. Yeah, no, it's your time to play. You got to get out there and play. Otherwise, you're going to get weird. Chordify, useless or worth $7 a month? I know nothing about it, Roddy. I'm sorry. Unless they're teaching you how to play guitar, straight up play guitar, I'm not going to spend the money on that, Can you give a brief overview of the Nashville number system? Thanks, Eric, you rock. Yeah, sure, Evan. So the Nashville number system is based off of the numbers of the major scale. So, for instance, if we're talking about G major, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. If we're talking about A major, though, it gets really complicated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then if you're talking about the key of C major, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. But Eric, what are you talking about? It's all the same. I know. That's the Nashville number system. That's why it's so easy. You just naming the notes by their numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then the chords would be named the same thing. So a major 1 and a 2, minor 2. Now, I'm telling you major or minor because this is naturally how they occur. But if you were to see a 1, 4, 5 chord, then in the key of G, that'd be a G, a C, and a D. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 4, 5. That's G, C, D, or G, C, D. And that's how you name your chords. If you see a 6 minor, then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's an E. So that's an E minor. Easy enough. If you see 1, 2, 3, that's a B. So it's a B minor. Okay? Or if you saw a B with a minus symbol, it's B minor. So that's literally how easy it is. I have a whole course of that inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System. If you're not in UGS and you never want to buy a lesson ever in your life and you're cool with jumping around on YouTube and being distracted and everything else, then go on YouTube and search YourGuitarSage Nashville number system, and I'll teach this to you in a much scaled down version, but bigger than what I just talked about, Evan. The big version's in UGS, though, very detailed. UGS rocks. Thanks, Eric. Can I access that first 30 lessons multiple times? Sandy, it's yours for life. So you get in it, you take your time with it, you can use it for life. Give it to friends. Do whatever you want with it. It's there for you so you can learn. Use it to teach your class, right? If you got a class of guitar players, use it. Because I promise you, you literally could follow that class and be able to teach kids. I used to teach class guitar as well for high school. Pretty fun stuff. My kids learned some theory, how they are transposing and using Nashville numbers to avoid F chords. Is too much theory dangerous? Absolutely not. Is playing too much dangerous? No. The more you know, the smarter you are. That's like saying, is too much knowledge dangerous? Nope, it's not. Too much knowledge. There's no such thing. It's knowledge. How could that be dangerous? The only people who are saying that too much knowledge is dangerous are dumb people. Yeah. Yeah. Not too much theory. You can't have that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Tampa. I love Tampa. Okay. Class of 90, St. Augustine. Beautiful. I'm class of 87, Melbourne Central Catholic. Eric, how do you start to EQ an amp you've never plugged into before? Okay, this is what I do is I set everything right in the middle, okay? So not at 0, not at 10, put it on 5. Usually that's straight up and down. Play. How does it sound? Eric, it sounds great. Cool, don't touch anything. That's a great place to start. And usually that's where I keep most of my amps. My Blues Juniors, they're right straight up and down, except I crank the bass. Hold on, I can't look, I can't see it. But there's one of them that I tweak a little bit. It's been a little while since I've looked. Again, it doesn't matter, because if I was on stage and the venue's different, I'm just going to adjust it according to the venue. But usually it doesn't change like that because I'm right in front of my amp and I can hear it fine. But nonetheless, put everything straight up and down. Does it sound good? Great, leave it. If it doesn't, tweak whatever it needs. If you're like, man, it sounds kind of dark, brighten it up with the treble, you know. Or you're like, man, it's too bright, turn the treble down. Or it needs more oomph, it needs more bass. Okay, turn the bass up. Too much oomph, turn the bass down. The mid-range is going to be right in the middle, and it's kind of that range that cuts through the mix. So your bass player's playing low, keys and singers playing a little bit higher, singing a little bit higher, right? So there's frequencies that these guys are taking. So the guitar player's right there in that mid-range, and that's a great place to be because it jumps out of the mix. So usually if a guitar player wants to be heard, they turn up the mid-range, not the bass, and definitely don't turn up the treble. It's going to sound like poo-poo. Okay, good. Besides tone and weight, what differences do you find between Strat and Tele? I already have a Strat, but I like the weight of a Tele and might get one. Well, a Strat has all single coil pickups, and most Teles do as well. But Teles, for whatever reason, you can dig in and make them kind of sound rock and roll, you know? I can't play this one. So you can make those sound kind of rocked out, and then you can just like, you know, or sound a little bit more bluesy. You know, but this Tele is not my favorite. I love it. It's a great guitar, but I'm just not used to playing it so much. So I bring it out every now and then because it needs some love. But you know, there's some tone differences. Of course, you usually have the whammy on the Strat and not on the Tele. So you're gonna get more of those bluesy sounds from the Strat. In my opinion, it just plays better. In my opinion, it's all subjective. Okay, all subjective. But I think I have a video on that. It's definitely in the Unstoppable Guitar System, but I may have like difference between a Strat and a Tele. I'm sure I do. Hey Eric, does the cable really make a difference in your sound? I realize to stay away from really cheap ones. Yeah, it does, James, and I do cover that, again, also inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. Yeah, it does. I use Mogami Golds. I love them, and they can. Every little piece added up, so one thing may not make a difference, but if you've got several cables like that, and then you got a few pedals that are kind of subpar, and then, you know, this is kind of subpar, and that's kind of subpar, then you got a kind of a subpar across the board. You're just going to start sounding like it. Does that make sense? I have trouble holding on to my pick. Any suggestions? Yeah, William, do the pick rest exercise that's in the free program, and then the descriptions at the top there in this video, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Also, bring your pick with you everywhere that you go. Keep it in your hands. You know, you're sitting there, you're walking around, you're at the office, you got the pick in your hand because you'll get used to holding it. You'll get used to holding it lightly, but still holding it. That's the number one suggestion I have for you, is carry it with you everywhere. And then watch that pick rest video that's in the free course. Is there a worthwhile in-ear monitoring system around $300? I know you can spend as much as you want looking at the M2 by Audio Technica. Ted, I wouldn't be the guy to ask. I apologize. I don't know. because I don't have an in-ear system right now. Okay, I'm going to get to just a few more questions. We're going to end in about 3 minutes here, but really quickly, friends, here's what I want you to do. Please, if you haven't already, please share this video. Social media, any way that you know how. I'm not asking you to go watch a tutorial on how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, don't worry about it. But if you know how to do it, please do it, or email it to a friend. Share it in some way. Sharing is caring. And of course, yeah, sharing is caring. We give away stuff all the time here. Sometimes we do it on the shares and what have you. This time we did it on answering a comment that was on a recent post on Facebook, and I think we announced that winner already. If we didn't, we will soon. But nonetheless, share this. Anything else that I need to tell you? No, I don't think so. Okay, so I'm going to answer just a few more here, okay? Maybe an odd question. I prefer maple necks fretboards. Should I not change the neck on my Strat Squire from rosewood? Michael, I wouldn't. I wouldn't worry about it. It's just, but again, it's all subjective, but I wouldn't worry about it. I think stuff like that is a waste, typically a waste of money and time, when really we should just be practicing. That's going to fix so much of our sound, it's not even funny. And it's free. Thrash metal. Lunch fund is light today. Thanks for the shout out and nice comment on mine yesterday, Eric. Oh, thank you so much, Thrash. I appreciate that. That was super kind to make a little, Thrash metal made a little video on my behalf, just kind of giving me a shout out and a thank you. So I appreciate that, buddy. That's all right. That's all right. The lunch fund is light today. I'll get the guys a couple Twinkies or something. It's cool. Whatever. They don't need to eat. Okay. Yeah. So focus on your practice. That's what I would say to do. Okay. Would you say stage fright is worse as a solo performer? My band is a solo project. Maybe getting people to play with me would help. Here's the deal. Yeah, when you're just out there all alone, then yes, it all rests on you. When you're in a band, you can kind of hide behind everybody a little bit. But at the same time, know that it is what it is. You have a band, and you're able to hide behind them a little bit. So it's not the same. Someone who's out there just doing it all themselves is a warrior, right? As opposed to someone who's in a band, is part of an army, he's just doing his thing, right? It is what it is. Yes, as a solo performer, you have more on your shoulders, but that doesn't mean to say don't do it, you know? It's going to strengthen you for sure, you know? Okay, maybe a couple last ones here. I have a Martin 1948. It has humidity problems and cracks. Any recommendations for repair? Here you go. Someone asked earlier, does it matter if your guitar is humidified or not humidified? Boom. 1948 Martin. I don't know off the top of my head, probably a $10,000 guitar. You tell me. Does that matter or not? It sure does. Humidity problem. So yes, you need to bring it to a luthier who knows how to do those repairs. I've seen them done before, and it's quite clever how they do it. But I definitely would bring it in to someone who knows what they're doing, not just anybody. No soup for you. I've seen guys in Florida in Beach Boys playing backing tracks to popular songs. How do you set that up? I've seen guys in Florida in beach bars playing backing tracks to popular songs. How do you set that up? David, it depends. They could make the tracks in a studio. They could be buying tracks. A lot of guys will use like looper pedals that are specifically, they've got the bass line and the drums and that sort of thing in there. Sometimes you can even put guitar lines and that sort of thing. There's the trio, which is a foot pedal that basically does everything on the fly according to your chord progression. All sorts of stuff that you could do that with. Hey, Eric, your wife sounds awesome. So how is your relationship going? Wink, wink. It's going pretty good. Are you hitting on me, David, or are you looking for my wife? Yeah, it's going great. I'm very much in love. She's a gem of a gal. I want to perform at senior homes. Aw, love that, David. Any suggestions on setting up a one-man show? Well, you don't want to do any modern tunes, right? You don't want to be playing Blink 182 and My Chemical Romance. You probably want to stick closer to well, figure out what age folks are who are in a senior home. You know, if they're in their 80s or 90s or 70s, whatever it is, figure out what tunes they were into when they were a teenager, right? Probably songs that were in the 50s, the 40s and 50s. 50s would be a great one. Man, learn a bunch of 50s tunes, especially the ones that are really sentimental and what have you. You'll bring down the house, man. That'd be really cool. Love it. Okay, friends, I've gone way over. So normally I've been trying to keep these to an hour, but for whatever reason lately here, the response has been so good, and I just want to keep you guys happy and get your questions answered and all that good stuff. So, friends, I say it all the time, and for those of you who have heard it a million times, I'm sorry, but I have a free program. I've mentioned it a ton of times. Literally 99% of the problems that I hear here all the time can be answered. Maybe not 99%, but probably 90 to 95% of the questions that were asked here can be found inside the free program. You'll find the link for that in the description of this video. Or go to YourGuitarSage.com/30. Bing, bing, bing. I wish you could just click on that, but you can't. But nonetheless, you could click underneath the video, like under, I can't point, but you know where I'm going. I'm going underneath the video. It's down here. Okay, click on that, go to there. It's the top 30 lessons I teach all my students. If you visited me here today, it costs a lot of money. It'd take a lot of time. It's the same dude, same head, same guitars, all the whole 9 yards in the same room, and I'm teaching you how to play the guitar in the same way. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that, you know? Or come visit me here, spend a bunch of money. I'll take your money, it's cool. Or I'm giving it to you for free. Eric, why do you do that? Because, man, I told you this a long time ago, and I'll say it again, is that, or I said I started this a long time ago. I told you this earlier today. I did this as a mission of love. I love helping others, and I love playing guitar, so that was just my thing, man. In high school, I used to teach for free. People would say, I need to know how to play guitar. I said, I'll teach you. I love playing guitar. I love teaching guitar, and I just teach my buddies how to play. And I did that a bunch, and then with YouTube, I put a bunch of videos up, and then all of a sudden, I was getting 30, 40, 50,000 views a day, and someone said, you ought to write a book or create a course or something. And I'm like, huh, yeah, I probably should, huh? And I did, but you could see me back in the day. My hair was all crazy. I wasn't very organized and that sort of thing. So I started getting organized. My life was kind of crazy at that time. So nonetheless, I got my stuff together, and I've created this course for you, because if you got 50,000 videos or 50,000 views every day, you get a few questions. I mean, literally, I get hundreds of questions every single day. This is why I can't, if you ever ask me a question on social media or something like that and I don't get to you, I apologize. It's because literally I'm getting hundreds of questions every single day. That doesn't even include the folks that are paying money that I definitely have to and want to answer those questions every day inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System. Right after this broadcast, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my phone and I'm going to be answering questions from folks inside the program. If you're inside the free program, I'll answer your questions. And that's how it works. I just literally created that program because I got so many questions, and I'm like, dear Lord, all these people need help. How can I help them? That's why I created that free course. So it's there for you. Take advantage of it. Please share this video, friends. I don't have, oh yeah, here I have a pic to throw. As always, friends, be kind to all beings. Do the right thing always. Practice your guitar, and I'll see you in another video. See ya.